Hello there, CRAPS enthusiasts. Here we go again with another tutorial on the Bubble CRAPS Tracker and Analyzer. I know over the past we kind of went through a few of the items that we displayed some of the capabilities of the program. Today I'm going to kind of go on to another feature that really is not in a released version yet, and that's only because we needed to get some input from you guys out there and see if you like this particular feature and if you want us to roll it out in this next segment, which is due out before the end of the month. So please be sure and respond, click the likes, the bells, and all the good stuff so we get some feedback from you so we can get this rolled out one way or another. Anyway, let's get started. What we're going to be looking at is this bottom section here, which, as stated before, is not out in the previous versions, but will be in the new. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick restart or a new session here, and it'll reset all my nice little things here, the iron cross, the inside 22, the 2 and down, and the continuous DP, which is a don't pass bank roll. What that will allow us to do is after 50 rolls, it will start tracking our history if we were making these continuous bets. Another item that's not listed in the current version, and it really is just a feature that temporarily is only in this test version, is this right here, and that's more or less the shooter points, or better, points per shooter, as it's kind of described here, points per shooter. In this case here, over the history, it's made 165 0 points. 160 points have been made once at least. 77 times we made 2 points. 52 times been 3, 33, and stuff like that. Not a big deal. The most frequently used are really this 165 and the 160, which was 0 points made and 1 point made. All right. That's going to reset. This is actually not even real information right now. It's kind of up there in our test environment only. Once we go through the 7 out of another shooter, it's going to reset this thing because it's all on a new session. It's currently showing old information. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start just running a couple of quick numbers on its own just to kind of get some data information into there. And once we have about 50 numbers, I see we have the debugger still running here, so we'll shut that down, keep going. And you notice now that down here, the points per shooter has kind of reset. Once we get about 50 numbers, our normal board will appear here, as well as this down here, the strategy information as far as the types of bets will start taking place. Let's see where we're at here. We're at about 58 rolls, so let's stop this for a moment and get a quick overview as to what's going on. Down here you can see in the points per shooter, let's see, we've had 3 shooters that have made 0 points, 3 shooters that have made 1 point, and 2 shooters that have made 2 points. Currently, our rolls, wow, we're shooting 28 rolls. That's pretty good for us there, isn't it? We've had the longest roll, which is what we're currently in, of 28. We've had 5 come-out wins, 2 come-out losses, 5 wins, and 5 losses, so it's pretty much equally stated throughout this area here. Now, if we go down to take a look at our iron cross, we'll see we started with a bankroll of 200, so we're at 249, and inside 22, which would be a $5 5, a $5.9, a $6.6, and a $6.8, we'd be currently sitting at about $270 or a $70 profit. If we would just be doing 2 and down, which is 22 inside, and we would let those collect twice and then bring the whole amount of money down, or just turn it off, so to speak, we would be up $42. We have a bankroll of $242. Our continuous DP, which is up $7. It's kind of interesting right now because this is unusual, where no matter what you bet, you would have made a little bit of a profit. One of the things that we have in this particular setup right now is that on the DP, the continuous DP, we are only allowing the shooter to roll 12 times before it shuts itself down. The reason, and that's only on the DP, it's saying, wow, we're already in this roll 12 times. This may turn out to be a hot shooter. Let's go ahead and just stop. If we go into a loss roll, let it be. We'll take it from there. But we wait until it resets, being the shooter comes up to a decision of a 7 out, and then it'll start to bet on the next shooter. Okay, that's just kind of a little protective point, and we figure 12 rolls is more than enough for us to, if we're not able to collect, let's just kind of suck it up, call it a loss for the shooter, and wait for the next person to continue. All right, one of the big things here, median roll, 4. We know that we want to be actually on a 5.5 or less. We used to play it off of 4.5 to 5. We'd go to the good side, but we've kind of changed that strategy after we've noticed that running with a continuous DP, we're finding that if we can roll 5 or less on the median roll, we usually do better on the don't. So now what we've done, using this little construct down here, is the fact that we kind of base our strategy on 5.5 or less, we're going to be betting higher on the DP. If it rolls over 5.5, so if we're doing 6 or more on this median roll, we now stay on the plus side, usually just using a 22 inside, and we do not press. All right, let's continue this, and let's see how we end up. So we are now going to continue here. So boom. So our rolls will continue. Let's keep an eye on this median roll. And even now, look, longest roll, we're up at 42, 43 rolls. That's pretty good. I wish this were a real hand, because you'd be making some good money. Look at our 22 insides, up at $304. Not bad at all. All right, now let's see. We've gone ahead and we've had a 7 out. Where are we at here? We had our 7 out right up here. We're into this from another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We made another point there. And our 6th roll. All right, let's take a look at where we're at. Median rolls is 6. So we know that more than likely the inside 22 is going to be doing fairly well. And as you can see, the inside 22 is 323 versus 293 on an iron cross. And in this particular setup, our iron cross is a $5, $5, a $6, 6 and 8, and only a $2 or possibly a $3 field bet. We don't put a $5 field bet when we have a $5 5-6-8 scenario, because it doesn't make sense for a $2 game type of thing. So we bring the iron cross down to where the field bet's only $2 or $3, so that you're still making $3-4 in that area. Okay. Now we're looking at our continuous DP. It's at $31 profits, or a $231, which is still sitting pretty nice when one considers that you're running a medium roll of 6. And that's only protected because we have the 12 roll maximum that we can do on a continuous DP. More than likely, because this is a median roll of 6 right here, this scenario will not change. It will not start betting again until it drops down to 5.5 or less. So even if you go to a 7 out, let's force a 7 out just for the heck of it. Right? Well, let's see if I can get a 6-1 in there or something like that. So we have a 6-1 playing. We go to a 7 out. We still have a median roll of 6. So on a new roll, this 231 won't change because our median still is sitting at 6. It won't start to replay until we have at least 5.5 or less. One other thing that's kind of important to us again is this portion down here where the points per shooter. We can see 3 shooters have made 0 points, whereas the majority has been 7 making 1 point. That's pretty good. And even here, 2 points have been made by 4 shooters, which is still more than the 0 points being only 3. All right? Let's let this play through on its own for a little more and see how if it stays up or down. Our median roll still we're watching is still 6, so we know that the inside 22 is still going to be doing fairly well. I've kind of gotten to a point where I watch that pretty regularly to make sure. I wait till it drops to about a 5, and when it hits 5, I'm going to be on the don't pass. So we're going at 6.5, so we know that 22 inside is going to be doing fairly well, and it actually shows. You see the running totals right here, still looking pretty good. And if you notice, this is starting to close up a little bit here. It did, and now it's going back the other direction on us. So we know that since we're making points, obviously we should be making a little bit of money on the good side, which is very apparent here. And you see down here the don't pass is not even playing because we're shooting at least 6 of a median roll. I like this myself. I started playing with this about 2 months ago. I pull pretty regular to it, and it keeps my bankroll on the plus side. It's very rare that it turns to the negative, by following this particular scenario. Here we've dropped to 5, so now this is going to start playing. Let's see, yep, 5.5, we're still in the ballpark here, so we know that this is coming down, which you can see now the 22 inside starting to lose. And we should actually start coming up on our don't pass. So let's see if that holds true. 4.5, and let's see if it goes up or down. We're still running kind of small here on this don't pass. It should be very tight. I'm going to show you one thing that I've noticed over time here. I'm going to stop this for just a moment. This scenario, when these two numbers here, the points per shooter, are about equal, very tight. I've learned to walk away. If this doesn't separate by more than 3 or 4, let's call it 4, if there's not a difference of 4 and I've been playing for a little while, I'm going to walk away, even if it means I'm going to lose 20, 30 bucks, because it's too tight. I can't seem to pull out a good win. It's at a point where I'll just be churning my money. It'll go up a little bit, go down a little bit, go up a little bit, because I'll be bouncing back and forth because of the median roll here. It's going to be between the 5 and the 6, and it'll bounce up, bounce back, bounce up, bounce back, and I can never get a good trend built. So when this stays between 1 or 2, maybe even 3 difference, so let's say right now it's 20-20, let's say we're 18 on the zeros and 20 on the 1 point per shooter, I probably would walk away from that because I know I'm just going to sit there and get nothing for it. And unfortunately, the house that I'm usually playing at, they don't give you any comp points at all when you're playing the bubble craps machine. So they don't comp you, they don't even track you. They say, you know what, you guys are worthless to us, so therefore we're not even going to track you. And in my case, I'm sitting there going, well, if you're not going to give me anything for sitting here and wading through the bad, no use for me to even play. So I'll either move on to another house, or I'll just call it a day. Anyway, let's play this out. Let's see how far we've gotten into this. We're at 335 rolls. That's 60 rolls an hour, 120 rolls an hour rather. So you've been playing this for a few hours already, and you're not getting anywhere. That's what I'm saying. The churning here at this point is useless. When we first started, we had seen that we had a median roll of 6 or a little more, and at that point, our 22 inside was doing well. It was up at about, I think, 250, 260. Now we've dropped that all the way down to 145. So you probably would have walked if you're up, 30, 40%. I like to base my winnings off of percentage versus amounts. It's kind of historical from stock trading, so I kind of bring that over into the gambling side of it. If you're making 20 or 30%, that's pretty good for the day. Anyway, let's play this out. We'll play it for another maybe 20, 30 rolls, maybe 50 rolls since it goes fairly quick. And let's see what we end up with. Let's see, we're at 350. We'll go up to about 400 rolls, and we will see where our bankroll is at. Median roll staying at 5. We're still running too close here to show us any real difference. And where are we at? 380. We're looking at the rolls up in this area here. Median's 5, so again 22, 23 down in this area. Let's go ahead and stop it, and let's see what our churn was at. The inside 22, we were able to come up and hold at 258, so $58 profit there. Whereas the DP ends at 144, and we just moved this into the 5.5 range, which is really where you're going to start playing the 5 to 5.5 range. But again, see, there's only a 2-point difference here between those making a point versus those that are not making a point. One of the things I really, really don't like. So I probably would have walked a long time ago on this. Overall, wins the losses, again, here you see it's 59 to 59. Very, very difficult. If you had just $5 on the pass, no odds or anything else, let's see how you would have made out. Come out wins 27 versus 13. So if you'd have had, you would have done a little bit better if you'd have just done a $5 pass bet and nothing else. Because although it shows equal amounts of wins and losses here, you could have made out with just the pass. Would I ever do that? Doubtful. I prefer to have a little more action than just a single pass line bet. Anyway, I hope this is somewhat informative to you. Please be sure and drop us a line. Let us know if you like the idea of having this little strategy square down here, letting you get an idea of what the trend is like after the first 50-some rolls. And again, this, which is completely off the chart right now, it's not even really decided as to whether or not we're going to implement this, but this points per shooter being 22 to 24 on like that, whether you find that useful and if you think that would help you guys at all. If you can give us some feedback, we'll kind of determine that whether or not we're going to throw it into the program. Okay? Again, up to this point here, this should come out in the next version, which should be out before the end of the month. This is August of 2019, so it will be out before the end of the month. One other thing, there was some feedback to us about an error in the editing. Let's say if we went up into here, we would change the number up in here, and sometimes you would get a recalculating totals, and it would lock up at that point, and information wouldn't come out quite right. That has been resolved, so you should be fine with that as well. No more of those problems. Okay? Again, hope this helps. Be sure and click on the bell to get updates on some new videos coming out, and be sure and subscribe so we can get some feedback from all of you and see how we're doing. All right? Thanks, and have a pleasant